Dude, ever hear of a gorilla playing the flute? Yeah, right. I thought pigs could drop a beat too. But hold up, there's this gorilla named Luma, and she's legit trying to save the world. What if the line between human and animal isn't as clear as we think? What if a creature, born in the wild but raised among us, could teach us about love, loss, and the world we're all a part of? In 1973, in a small research center nestled in the hills of Northern California, a story began that would challenge everything we thought we knew about intelligence, emotion, and connection. This is the story of Luma, a gorilla whose name means light in an ancient tongue, a name that would come to reflect the brilliance she brought to the world. Luma wasn't born in a pristine jungle or a sprawling savanna. She came into the world in a modest wildlife sanctuary, a premature baby gorilla weighing barely 3 pounds. Her mother, weakened by captivity, couldn't care for her. Pneumonia set in early, and Luma's tiny body fought to survive. Most would have given up on her, a fragile creature with little chance. But one person saw something extraordinary in those dark, curious eyes, a spark of something more. That person was Dr. Elena Marquez, a young behavioral scientist fresh out of UC Berkeley. Elena wasn't your typical researcher. She didn't see animals as mere subjects. She believed they had stories to tell, if only we'd listen. Her passion was communication, and her question was bold. Could a gorilla learn to speak with humans, not just through mimicry, but with true understanding? At the time, the idea seemed absurd. Scientists had tried teaching language to chimpanzees in the 1960s with mixed results. But gorillas, they were dismissed as slow, stoic, incapable of complex thought. Big muscles, small minds, the skeptics said. Elena saw it differently. She saw Luma's quiet gaze, her deliberate movements, her gentle curiosity. This wasn't just an animal. This was a mind waiting to be unlocked. With the sanctuary's approval, Elena began working with Luma in a small, sunlit room filled with toys, books, and patience. She chose American Sign Language, ASL, as their bridge. No rewards, no punishments, just trust. Elena believed communication wasn't about training, it was about connection. The early days were tough. Luma was hesitant, her tiny hands clumsy as Elena guided them into signs. Eat, play, hug. Luma would squirm or look away, uninterested. But Elena watched closely, noticing how Luma responded to certain gestures with a tilt of her head or a soft grunt. Slowly, something clicked. Luma signed drink one morning, her fingers curling deliberately. Then food, then more. These weren't random. She was choosing her words. By age 2, Luma was combining signs. Want fruit became her favorite phrase, signed with an eager glint in her eyes. By age 3, she was inventing her own words. A scarf became neckcloth. A shiny spoon was mouth metal. These weren't taught signs. She was creating them, piecing together ideas to describe her world. This was language. This was thought. But it wasn't just words that set Luma apart. It was what came with them, emotion. She signed happy when Elena brought her favorite blanket. She signed mad when a toy was taken away. Once, when Elena pretended to cry, Luma signed sad and gently touched her face. It was a moment that stopped Elena in her tracks. Luma wasn't just learning signs. She was reading emotions, responding with care. This was no small thing. In the 1970s, science still viewed animals as instinct-driven, their behaviors mere responses to stimuli. Feelings, self-awareness, those were human privileges. But Luma was rewriting the rules. She passed the mirror test at age 3, staring at her reflection, touching her face, even making silly faces as if testing her own image. Most animals failed this test. Luma aced it, proving she knew who she was. Her personality began to shine through. She loved bright colors, especially red. She'd steal Elena's red scarf and drape it over her shoulders, signing pretty. She'd play pranks, hiding toys and signing where with a mischievous grin. Once, when a researcher spilled juice, Luma signed messy and laughed, a deep, breathy chuckle that echoed through the room. It wasn't just intelligence, it was joy. As word of Luma's abilities spread, skepticism followed. Scientists questioned whether she was truly communicating or just mimicking Elena's cues. But the evidence was hard to dismiss. Luma signed spontaneously, answering questions she hadn't been prepped for. When asked, "What do you want?" she'd sign play or hug without hesitation. She even started conversations, signing look to point out a bird outside the window. Elena and Luma's bond grew deeper. It wasn't just researcher and subject, it was friendship. Elena spent hours with Luma, reading picture books, sharing fruit, laughing at her antics. Luma trusted her completely, resting her head on Elena's shoulder during quiet moments, signing love with her massive, gentle hands. By the late 1970s, Luma's vocabulary had grown to over 500 signs. She understood spoken English at the level of a young child, responding to questions with uncanny accuracy. But it wasn't the number of signs that mattered. It was what she said with them. She expressed preferences, told simple stories, even showed empathy. When Elena was sick one day, Luma signed rest and brought her a blanket. This was more than an experiment. Luma was becoming a window into a world we'd ignored, a world where animals might think, feel, and dream in ways we'd never imagined. She wasn't just learning to speak, she was teaching us to listen. And as we'll see in part 2, Luma's heart would reveal itself in ways no one could have predicted, through a tiny creature that would change her life forever. If this story moves you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for part 2. Let's keep Luma's light shining together. What do you think? Can animals teach us to be better humans? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Luma wasn't just a gorilla who learned to sign. She was a soul who felt deeply, vividly, undeniably. By the late 1970s, her ability to communicate through American Sign Language had already stunned researchers. But it wasn't the signs themselves that changed the world. It was what Luma expressed through them: joy, frustration, curiosity, and something no one expected, a longing for connection that would reveal the true depth of her heart. It all started with a simple picture book. Luma loved flipping through magazines and animal books with Dr. Elena Marquez, her trusted friend and teacher. She'd linger on certain pages, her massive fingers tracing the images with a gentleness that seemed almost impossible for a creature so strong. One day, she stopped at a photo of a tiny, fluffy kitten. Her eyes widened. She signed soft, and then baby, her hands moving slowly, deliberately. Then she looked at Elena and signed something that stopped everyone in the room. Want, cat, baby. Elena was floored. This wasn't a request for a toy or food. Luma was asking for a living companion, a creature to care for. It was a glimpse into a mind that didn't just think, it yearned. At first, Elena and the team hesitated. They tried giving Luma a stuffed kitten, thinking it might satisfy her. Luma pushed it away, signing no good. They offered a mechanical toy cat that meowed. Luma signed sad and turned her back. She wasn't looking for a substitute. She wanted something real, someone to love. So, on Luma's 5th birthday, Elena made a decision that would change everything. She arrived at the sanctuary with a small cardboard box. Inside it, 3 tiny kittens, barely a few weeks old. Luma's eyes lit up as she peered inside. Her hands, capable of crushing stone, reached in with a tenderness that seemed to defy physics. She lifted one kitten, a gray, fuzzy bundle with bright blue eyes, and cradled it against her chest. She signed mine, and then, with a soft grunt, Star. That's what she named the kitten, Star. To Luma, the kitten's eyes sparkled like the night sky she'd seen in her picture books. It was another moment of her creativity, her ability to name the world in her own way. From that day on, Luma and Star were inseparable. Luma carried Star everywhere, tucking her into the crook of her arm like a mother would a child. She'd sign gentle to herself as she stroked Star's fur, her massive hands moving with precision. When Star scampered off or scratched playfully, Luma would sign naughty with a playful huff, then scoop her up again. It wasn't just affection, it was nurturing, protective, deliberate. Luma's signs told a story of love. She'd sign happy when Star curled up beside her. She'd sign play when Star chased a ball of yarn. Once, when Star sneezed, Luma signed sick and looked at Elena with worry, as if asking for help. It was clear, Luma wasn't just bonding with Star. She was caring for her, feeling responsible for her. This bond captivated everyone at the sanctuary. Researchers who'd been skeptical of Luma's abilities now watched in awe. This wasn't a trained response. This was a gorilla choosing to love, to protect, to connect. It challenged everything science thought it knew about animals. Gorillas weren't supposed to form attachments like this. They weren't supposed to understand care, but Luma did. Then came the day that broke everyone's hearts. One evening, Star slipped out of her enclosure during a routine cleaning. She darted outside, unnoticed, into the quiet streets around the sanctuary. A car, moving too fast, didn't see her. Star didn't make it. Elena had to tell Luma. It was one of the hardest moments of her life. She sat with Luma, took her hands and signed slowly. Star gone. Accident. No more. Luma stared, her dark eyes searching Elena's face. Then she signed bad. She signed sad. She signed cry. She curled into a corner, her massive frame hunched, and let out soft, mournful sounds, low, guttural moans that echoed with pain. For days, Luma was different. She ate less. She played less. She'd sit by the window staring out, signing Star or sad to herself. Once she picked up Star's favorite toy, a small red ball, and held it close, signing Miss. It wasn't just loss, it was grief. Raw and real, the kind that leaves a mark on the soul. This moment shattered doubts. Scientists who'd argued Luma was just mimicking or responding to cues could no longer dismiss her. Grief isn't something you fake. It's not a reflex. It's a wound. And Luma was carrying it, signing it, sharing it with the world. But Luma's heart was resilient. Months later, Elena brought her another kitten, a tiny black one with a white patch on its chest. Luma hesitated at first, her hands trembling as she reached out. But when she held the kitten, she signed "New Baby" and smiled, a soft, breathy laugh escaping her. She named this one Moon, another nod to the night sky she loved in her books. Moon became a new light in Luma's life, but Star's memory never faded. Luma would sometimes sign Star when looking at the sky, as if her friend was still out there twinkling in the dark. It was a reminder that love, once given, doesn't vanish, even when the one you love is gone. Luma's ability to articulate her feelings set her apart. Other animals grieve. We see it in elephants, dolphins, even dogs. But Luma could name her pain. She could sign cry and mean it. She could sign miss and show us her heart. This wasn't just an animal feeling. This was an animal communicating those feelings across the species divide. Her bond with Star, and later Moon, showed something profound. Luma didn't just learn human language. She used it to reveal her soul. She showed us that love isn't a human invention. It's something older, deeper, woven into the fabric of life itself. As the 1980s dawned, Luma's story was spreading. Documentaries were made, articles were written, people sent letters asking about the gorilla who loved a kitten. But Luma's. By the 1980s, Luma was more than a gorilla in a Northern California sanctuary. She was a global marvel. Her signs in American Sign Language and her heartfelt bond with her kitten Star had already shown the world that animals could love and grieve like us. But Luma's spirit was a universe of its own, and in this chapter, her playfulness, creativity, and a surprising friendship lit up the stage, proving she wasn't just alive, she was radiant. Luma's quirks were her magic. She'd swipe Dr. Elena Marquez's red pens, tuck them under her blanket, and sign "Where" with a mischievous smirk. If lunch was late, she'd sign "Slow" with a dramatic huff, then burst into her signature laugh, a soft, breathy chuckle that warmed the room. One afternoon, she grabbed Elena's scarf, draped it over her head, and signed "Queen," strutting around her enclosure like she owned it. The team roared with laughter, and Luma joined in, her deep chuckles echoing. This wasn't mimicry, it was a gorilla with a sense of humor, eager to spread joy. Her love for music was a revelation. One day, a radio in the sanctuary played a classical melody, and Luma froze, signing "Pretty" as she swayed to the piano notes. Elena noticed and brought a small wooden flute. Luma took to it instantly, puffing out short, off-key notes with a grin. She'd sign "Song" after each attempt, looking at Elena as if to say, "Not bad, right?" Once, she played a string of notes and signed "Happy," her eyes twinkling. It wasn't a symphony, but it was Luma's, proof her heart craved beauty and expression. Technology sparked her curiosity too. The sanctuary introduced a touchscreen tablet with symbols for communication. Luma poked it warily at first, but soon she was a pro, tapping food and signing "Apple" to be specific, or selecting "Happy" and signing "Play" to ask for fun. This was more than signing. It was a gorilla weaving human tools into her world, showing us her mind's boundless reach. But Luma's spirit shone brightest in 1987, when a famous comedian, Jack Harper, visited. Known for his wild energy and warm heart, Jack was curious about Luma. The team was nervous. She could be shy with strangers, but when Jack flashed his goofy grin, Luma signed "Funny" and bounded over. They played like old pals. Jack made silly faces. Luma mimicked them, signing "Silly." He tickled her. She swatted his hand, laughing. Then, in a moment that melted hearts, Luma signed "Friend" and pulled Jack into a gentle hug, her massive arms wrapping him in warmth. Her heart's bigger than mine, Jack told the cameras, his voice cracking. That visit meant more than they knew. Weeks earlier, Luma had mourned a gorilla companion's death, her signs heavy with sad. Jack's playfulness brought her light back, her happy signs lighting up the day. Years later, when Jack passed, Elena shared the news. Luma signed sad and friend gone, sitting quietly, her hands still. Her grief, once again, showed a depth that silenced skeptics. Luma met others, musicians, a kind TV host who read her stories, but she greeted each with her open heart, signing hello or nice. These weren't stunts, they were Luma being Luma. She played with her kitten Moon, signing baby as they chased yarn. She teased Elena, signing slow for late snacks. Through it all, she taught us intelligence isn't just words, it's joy, creativity, and connection. But soon, her gaze would turn to a bigger stage, the planet we share. Part 4's coming and it's huge. Smash that like button and subscribe to hear Luma's final message. Tell us in the comments, what's a joyful animal moment you've had? Let's keep Luma's light shining. Luma was more than a gorilla who signed or played with kittens. She was a bridge to our hearts. By the 1990s, her flute melodies and friendships had made her a global star. As she aged, her light grew deeper, calling us to save the planet we share. In her 30s, Luma's steps slowed, but her spirit danced. She signed with Dr. Elena Marquez about her old kitten Moon, her breathy flute notes, and red apples. One day, she chased Moon's yarn, signing baby with a chuckle, then teased Elena with slow for a late snack, her grin as cheeky as ever. But a shadow crossed her signs. Elena showed her videos of scarred forests and dying reefs. Luma signed home gone, her eyes asking, why? In 2016, a camera caught Luma's plea. She signed calm but firm. Earth sad, Luma love Earth. Fix, now, hurry. No one scripted it. The 30-second video shook millions, a gorilla's wisdom sparking comments like, she's wiser than us. Luma spoke for trees, rivers, creatures without signs. In her 40s, Luma's joy endured. She cuddled Moon, signing baby, and played her flute, notes soft like a lullaby. Her signs grew urgent, pleading love Earth after images of fading wildlife. In June 2019, Luma passed at 47, Elena's hand in hers, Moon nearby, her red blanket draped over. The world wept. Luma taught us love. Her legacy lives. The Luma Foundation guards gorillas and spreads her call. Luma's signs proved empathy binds all life. She loved, grieved, laughed. Her plea, Earth sad, fix, now, asks, if a gorilla cares, why don't we? Thanks for Luma's journey. Like, subscribe, and share how she inspired you below. Let's save our planet together.